I'm going to be doing a landscape with my soft pastels. I have my pastels here. I also have soft pastel pencils for more detail work. So this is 140-pound watercolor paper. And let's get started. Let's start with the sky area. I do have sort of marked off my corners where my mat will sort of go, so it gives me a guide. I will go outside a little bit because we can shift our mat here and there a little bit. But basically, it's similar to coloring, but you're able to blend the different colors. Let's start up dark here. I'm going to leave room for some clouds. I do have paper towels to wipe my fingers off occasionally. Let's darken this corner a little bit. I'm not going to do too much, but because I want a cloud coming in. And then just sort of here and there, leaving the white of the paper for where the clouds are going to be. And you can do a light sketch in if you want. Pencil, if you use pencil, it will erase off, but it will pick up some of the color off as well. But you can also sort of lightly sketch some in areas like that, you know, just giving you sort of a basic, and then you can fill the other areas in. I just sort of think where clouds would be floating in the sky. Just kind of work around them. And we can darken any of these areas after we get our cloud shapes in. So I usually do a little darker towards the corners. It kind of brings your eyes in to the lighter areas of the painting. All right. And I think I'm going to go in with a slightly lighter blue. Down in here. Just a little bit of different. And even lighter than that. This is almost like a greenish blue. That'll be along the horizon where we're going to have some trees and such. All right, I'm going to take my white, and up here where the clouds are. And the reason I do this, you can leave the white of the paper, but this allows the blue to blend with some of this white. And I can even take some pinks or lavenders to blend in with, say, the base of the clouds. And speaking of lavender, got a little bit here. I can do a little bit at the base of these clouds. And I can even come in. Oh, let's see, like pinks, maybe down here, give it a little more pink to the clouds. So, and we can just, let's see how you can sort of blend up, and then up here, the tops of the clouds. And we'll do them. You can see how this is getting a little pinker down here. Okay, now you gotta decide, make a decision. Do you want darker areas? Do you want lighter areas? We can go in and work those. Got my paper towel, I'm just taking the corner and kind of folding it. And then I'm gonna kind of work the tops of those clouds a little bit. Turn that over. And as you can see, it picks up some of the colors I have on there, highlighting the different areas. All right, let me clean my fingers here. I go in with my deeper blues and I'm gonna deepen some of these colors. Now that I got my cloud placement. And we're gonna start at the top, but get lighter, lighter, lighter as we come down. Most of the time I usually do pastel colors. But I think today we're gonna just use some, put a lot of color in. Just really deepen this color in. Okay, and as I come down, I'm not pushing as hard, leaving less pigment on the canvas. In there, and we can even separate some of the clouds with some like that. So you can work your different colors. Okay, let's take, and then we're going to use this to kind of help blend a little bit more. It'll pick up some of the color. That's all right. If we pick up too much, we can always add more. Let's get my lavender. I think I've lost some of my lavender here. There. That looks a lot better. I'm going to get my whites, work the top of those clouds. Back to my lavender. And I'm just working back and forth between the two. My fingers off, soften that up a little more. And you can work these back and forth as much as you want. You have time, you can play with this. There's one, there's another one up top. We're gonna kind of separate that with a little bit of the purple, lavender. And I'm gonna gonna take some of this and kind of lift a little bit of that color. And then one more here, maybe here. All right, that's looking pretty good. Take a little bit of white here, there. I think we've got it pretty good. So we've got our sky in, and we gotta decide, do we want water down here? Do we want a green meadow? Maybe a little stream coming down? Your decision. I'm gonna get sort of a blue-green, and I think over here, I'm gonna put an evergreen. I'm just drawing a line, and then I'm gonna just kind of lifting it up occasionally and just kind of back and forth, almost making like a Z or right here. I can kind of, since this is in the background, kind of fuzz it out a little bit. I can even take, I've got rolled paper, it's got a nice point, and that can kind of work those. Yeah, and I think I've lost my point. Let's get that back right up to the top of the tree. And if we want, we can even put a second one. The mat's probably, you're not going to see this one out there, but you never know. And same there. All right, so we've got a couple trees over here. And we got to decide, you know what, maybe today we'll put a mountain in. Or maybe some nice rolling hills. Let's see. Oh, I think I'm gonna go with my lavender. Where's my lavender? And that's a little brown, little lavender here. And that's gonna come off. And don't make them all the same height. You know, you can. So. And you can see I only did the tops, and I'm bringing that color down. I'm basically using the white of the paper for highlights. Okay, once I've got the tops established, and we can go higher on some of these. In fact, I think I might even go a little higher. Maybe there's a double hill here. And see how I can just kind of wipe that out. So if you keep it fairly light, you can change things. And once you get what you want established, we can come in, add some highlights on one side. And then I just white across the bottom. And then we're going to take and add some shadows. So a little lavender, a little bit of the blue in the sky. And we're pulling that down. I'm going to clean my fingers. I'm going to take that, do a little rolling. And you can see how you can lighten up. And down the bottom, we're just gonna almost white. So now I'm gonna go in with my greens that I used up here. And just sort of an up and down motion. Just I lift it up occasionally. We're just establishing maybe some trees or something's growing there. You can even have some kind of going up the mountain a little bit. Just kind of lifting, smudging them. And then down here. And a little for the grass. Something for them to sit on. Do a little pulling up on it. And then here you can even take, oh, let's see. Let's take this and we're put a line there and maybe one or two bigger trees. You don't need a lot of those. Your eye will fill in a lot of the different places. And it's just sort of established that there are trees back there. All right. So now, I think we're gonna start a little darker over here. There's shade under these trees. I'm gonna bring that out. You can see I still have some of that white I put in originally. And that's gonna lighten it up. And the same over here. In fact, I think, oh, maybe I got a big tree here. This one goes way up, almost off the paper. And back and forth, it's just basic tree shape. And you can make them a lot fatter if you want. And I'm gonna go back in on the darker side, pull a few more branches out. I'm gonna pick up slightly lighter green on this side where the light's coming from. It's not much difference, but there's a slight difference. And I think we'll go back in. Oh, do we want another one? Maybe one here. And the same, we'll pick up some of this lighter. And down the bottom. I'll pick some of this up. We got a good spot here for either a stream or maybe we've got a little pathway or a road coming down. You decide what you want. So, but let's continue down. I'm going to take that medium green and I'm going to add some of that. It's a little lighter. And the same thing over here, but this time I'm going to add just a slight bit of yellow to it. And right here, some of that yellow and green. And it just changes, it just adds another plane to it. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna take sky color, maybe we have a little pond that sits back here. We don't have to have it come all the way up. Just back here, there's a little lake or something. And take a little bit of brown for a shoreline. lake, maybe it does have a little stream that comes out. Forms a little puddle here. We're going to bring the grass right underneath. This is some of that darker color in the corners. And that blue is in sort of right there. Maybe we've got a couple rocks. Take our little pointer here. Forms. All right, so we've got the basics in. Now we gotta decide, do you wanna keep it that light? Do you wanna add more color? I think we're gonna go in and we're gonna start darking. Down the bottom, it's a lot darker. That's where our shadows are. It's deepest, darkest underneath those trees. I'm gonna take some yellows out here where it's a little lighter. And some of our browns. Maybe there's a big rock that sits here. Kind of holds that water in. I'm gonna take a little white on the top. Blend that down. Underneath is a little bit of shadow. Those rocks will throw a shadow. It also sets them down. Here there's some small rocks, and that's what's kind of contains that water in from coming all the way down, so that we just got a little stream. And underneath, of course, we're gonna darken it, set them down. Maybe we have a little tree here. Sits alongside that pond. Let's establish those rocks a little. Since they're closer, I'm gonna make sure they have more color. Pull that out. And even add, I'll add a little water, comes right up to them. And then up front, we can put some reeds, different colors. And some brown ones. And if you're not very good with it, you can even go in and use some of our pencils to establish. That adds a little more detail. We just kind of smudge them out a little bit. Put a little line underneath. We have some shadows. Kind of sets them down. And over here, I think, oh, let's get some. A blue-green. And even take a little bit of yellow. And you can see how that kind of just blends in. So we've got some reeds or weeds along here. And let's bring that hill down. In fact, let's go with a little lighter. So we come forward. Maybe. Yep, there's an evergreen here. I want to set that one down, so I'm going to darken that area there. I've sort of lost my shoreline, so I'm going to put that back in. And you see how this, with the point on it, can get into small areas and fix different things like that. All right, so we've got that little rocky stream coming down. Let's keep moving forward. Add more color in here. You see how you keep adding color? You can even add a little yellow in there. Just gives it a little more change in color. I have even lighter green here I can use. But by working the different colors, it gives you different planes where it looks like it keeps going back and back and back into the background. Now I'm going to use the darker here, but I'm going to add some yellow to it. And by blending those together, it keeps it deeper, but it's not the same dark as here. And you see, it looks like a hill coming down. Maybe there's a big rock that sits in here, and another one here. And let's get my back here. I'm gonna add some highlights on top, and then down the bottom put some smaller pebbles maybe that have formed there. You know what? Maybe it's an actual bigger rock right there, but it's more in shadow. And then underneath, we're gonna put the grass. Kind of sets them down. In fact, I'm gonna go in and pull some grasses up. Maybe even some lighter ones. And even do a few that are brown, maybe. Kind of rub the bottom out a little bit. So we've got some nice rocks there. Let's go back to my blue. In fact, right here, I'm going to set that tree down in more green right along the edge there. tube comes in from there. Alright. Maybe here's a good spot for a couple small rocks. And like I said, use the point of it, and that works real well. So we've got our little pond, we've got our trees. We can even go in, add a few lines here where just kind of look around, see if anything else you need. If you want, we can add a big tree. But I think we've got a nice painting as it is. I like that little bit of lake. Maybe some grasses in here. Do some yellows. We can even use a few browns. And maybe we'll have one bird flying in. Maybe it's an eagle coming in. So I think we're ready to sign this one. And I think, oh, here's a good spot. Would you decide? Maybe you'd like a big tree here. Or maybe some sticks or something. But right now, I think we've got a finished painting. Let's get our mat. I think we got a very nice painting there. I hope you enjoyed that one.